Prospect, Grand Rise, the worlds. We are creating these worlds that unconsciously we're not aware. And this is only for individuals who are seeking some type of balance and understanding. Because I think I was listening to a bill earlier, and it was very important that the particular part that was spoke about was we get tied up into the divide aspect. And I was listening to Billy Carson speak about um, the time that we in is the great divide, the separation. But then understanding the NAGA pretense and universal pretense, and also building or listening to Seven, the understanding was clear that these energies particularly push you into a direction to subsequently separate the value of what's supposed to happen opposed to what will happen. What do I mean by that? Meaning when you are dialing into some form of solution, knowing that you've been damaged yourself through certain iniquities, you particularly tend to take on these individuals as it's you guys against everybody else. When in fact, because you are or you have the capability of healing a circumstance, you've become the resource for that attribute to other individuals. Now, I spoke on this yesterday when I said you become the image of what the solution will be. But understand that that aspect of collectively taking on that negative energy will subsequently usurp you into a different energy to build that divide to where you are out looking at things that are in the same retrospect of what you're trying to solve, and then build a division in between those, saying mine and yours. That's a different energy that was spoken by Seven as to be the destroyer concept. The work is about, and I said this yesterday, the work is about making the best path or completing your path. And there's only one way to do that. You have to do it correctly. It's not like you don't know right from wrong. And for the most part, when people don't know the outcome of a circumstance, they have nothing to tether to say, well, this is the reason why you should move forward. Like, what is the real reason? Like, how many people do you have a conversation with on a normal basis knows that the subsequent value of doing things right has the ultimate outcome on where your spiritual energy ends up being? Now, we know that, but we know that in a different hindsight, right? So you're kind of like manipulated to go that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's even deeper because while listening to this story, this was the same story that they played in Dragon Ball Z. Like when Goku and Vegeta merged, and then they found out how to use the God energy, and then he found out how to travel through time, and he was finding out why things happen in the past and all that, and why he ended up in different situations. It was particularly that the gods were pushing energies to make you turn out to be a certain way, to make him a destroyer. So he had to lose. He had to be put in a corner. He had to never get help. He had to be by himself. He had to go through all this shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was ultimately to make him a destroyer. And we're not mindful of these energies that are taking place that are higher than subsequently the value of what you did for yourself. Like, what do you even know? like, you see, that goes back to purpose. And then it's another power that has to come up, because if you have this understanding, then you have the choice to go against that, and you can't go against that weak. You can't go against that without, you know what I'm saying, having the right energy to defeat those pretenses. So what I'm speaking towards is the contrast to value. And this is believing and knowing that something higher than what you are perceiving is accessing. So if something's higher than you're perceiving is controlling the outcome, moreover than you being controlled by things in your facility, then that gives you a different power to access, so you can defeat the things that are controlling you. You're just not mindful of those things to know that you can break those situations. And subsequently, there are stories that talk about destroying what destroys you, or is out to destroy you. When in fact, not playing the game itself and taking the way to usurp your energy to become a higher facility is a particular. It's a particular. And the reason why I put it in that term is because if you can find that way out, then you subsequently break the generational curses that are held within our DNA through vibration and magnetism. Like, these things are stuck to your DNA. It's like you can't get away from it. You're going to live and relive everything that came from where you came from. Whether the circumstances are exactly the same, then the vibrations will formulate into their own. Like, if you take vibrations and hit sand, it makes a shape. You take vibrations that hit water, it makes a shape. So what we're not aware of is the fact that we are carrying vibrations through the DNA that exists. So in order to find out the capabilities of the full attributes of all the DNA, you have to find out how to unlock all of those. And there's ways to do that. Like, if you're using black seed oil and omega-3s together, the combination starts to unlock the DNA. What other things? Just speaking towards certain values. And when you start to unlock your DNA, you'll start to see that your capabilities and thought patterns will change. You'll start changing to see things a little more in depth. Because that's the problem. We don't see in depth enough. We see on the surface. So certain words that are being said, certain situations that are spoken to you, how they're being spoken to you, you don't take them as the intention. You take them as face value. So it affects in a different way. The effect hits you in a different way. Being mindful of these circumstances allow you to grow in a way that's unusual to the normal person as far as what growth means. It's a spiritual outlook, and it gives you a different conversation. It allows you to take in different things and build from the standpoint of truth instead of the standpoint of a person's false intention. But subsequently, it's always going to be your involvement in the way, the divine way, over all things, is the great tree. It's like roots. It's the great tree. So how do you see? What do you see? And how are you incorporating that into your everyday life to make things easier towards your growth? No one can tell you anything because you see in a particular perception. It is your particular perception. And that is a calculation of numeric understanding that sits with you. That vibrations and energy particularly have to come through that perception in order for you to receive it anyway. And this is what makes us all dynamic, because we are all the different reasons. We are all the different equations, and we are all the different solutions within each other. So The thing is to wake up all solutions, to wake up all problems, to wake up all circumstances, and have those things known. And when they are known, then we are on a complete book. That's the book of life. That's the true book of life that will come into formulation by itself. When this plane of existence of everyone wakes up to their truth and their perception in life and the things that are taking place with them individually, the real book of life will formulate out of nothing. Because this time will move on into eternity, because at that point we have conquered death. We will move to the realm of eternal, and then it's the next realm above that of the gods. But that's not for everyone, because things have to be washed. We talk about the different levels. That it's a level where you can have so much circumstance on you not understanding yourself to where that weight weighs you down, and you have to go downward through the spiral to be scrubbed clean, to be brought back in through the knowledge into the physical understanding. It shows you that in every cycle, and you can see how the energy moves. The energy is just rewashing everything and bringing it back down. It's your energy from wherever time is relevant, but it's fixing the things that are lack thereof. I ain't gonna hold y'all because we already tapping in. You already know the vibes, man. It's not deuces.